All right, Mr. Moore, can we do another good customer and can we do another bad customer? Part two. You want me to do another bad customer and good customer? Okay. Let's go with the bad one first or whatnot. So I had a client that called me or whatnot and she was wanting service. I'm like, cool, no problem. She was like, I already had another company that came out here and they already bid it. I'm trying to see if you cheaper or not. Would you be able to come by today and take a look at my unit? I'm like, yes, no problem. So I get out there deep down in Lee Summit. I get out there, I took a look at everything, and I gave her my price. She was like, okay, cool. You're already cheaper than them because she already showed me the invoice. And I'm like, you already know I'm gonna underbid it just to get the bids anyway. That's what we do. And she understood that too. She knew if she showed me that I would probably go a little bit under and get it done. Which the other company that bid it on it wasn't really all that bad. I just went a little bit lower, and then after I showed her everything that needed to be done, I gave her an invoice. I'm like, okay, you need a new evaporator coil, you need a new AC unit, and you need a new furnace. I was like, this is how much it's gonna cost. And she was like, okay, I'm supposed to be selling this house here in about a week from now. Can you get it done within a couple of days before I close on the house? Because the owners that's buying the house want a whole brand new HVAC machine. I'm like, fine, no problem, I can get all this done. But she was like, how can I save even more money? I said, you can't. And she was like, well, what about taking that evaporator coil off? Will that evaporator coil work with what you would put in? I said, it probably will, but you have a rusted out evaporator coil, you need to replace it. I said, I wouldn't recommend selling your house without it. And she was like, okay, how much would I save if I don't put the evaporator coil in and I just do the furnace and I just do the AC? And I did another invoice for her. And she really loved that. She was like, let's do that. I'm like, but you shouldn't. I'm like, you need this evaporator coil replaced. I said, if the owners come in here and find out that you didn't do it, they're going to say something about it. And she, you know what she told me? She told me they ain't gonna find out what's inside of that box. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, okay, this is your house. You're gonna do what you want to do with it anyway. That's why you called me anyway, because you didn't want to pay them, but you want to try to undercut this deal. I said, you know what? I ain't got nothing to do with this. I said, so you don't want the evaporator coil installed. You just want the AC and you just want the furnace. She said, yes. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna send you another invoice, but I'm gonna put on there that you refuse to get the evaporator coil replaced. I said, are you cool with that? She said, yes. So I get everything installed. I get payment from her. Everything is going fine. I think maybe 9 or 8 months later, I end up getting a call from the guy that bought the house. He called me cussing me out. I mean, when I say cussing me out, your business ain't this, your business ain't that. How did you come over here and not finish the job? And I'm like, okay, now, who are you? What are you talking about? I said, your voice don't even sound familiar. I said, it doesn't sound like I did any work for you because I don't even sound like my work. And he was like, well, the lady that sold me the house supposed to have been putting in a brand new unit, a new AC unit, a new evaporator coil, and a new furnace. And what he was telling me like, he told her he most definitely wanted the evaporator coil replaced. See, but I wasn't there for that conversation. That's none of my business. I just did what she paid me for, and I warned her about not replacing the evaporator coil. So this is what I told him. I said, you might want to talk to the lady that sold you the house, because I only did what she told me to do. And he was pretty upset. Then he called her back. I don't know what happened between him and her or whatnot, but he calls me back again and saying that, she said she didn't tell you to do that. She told you to put a whole brand new complete HVAC unit in there, and I'm the one that didn't do what I'm supposed to do. I said, you know what? I don't want to go back and forth with you on this phone. I said, I got receipts. And he was like, oh, you got receipts? I said, yes, I got receipts and I have an invoice. He was like, okay, I'm going to call you back. So when he called me back on three-way. He called me back on three-way with his lawyer, him, and another lady. I think the realtor that actually sold them the house. They was all upset thinking I was lying. And the realtor, she wanted the invoice. So I had to end up sending that invoice to the realtor and the homeowner. So they gave me their emails and I sent them the information. And they was like, okay, we're going to call you back. We're going to look over this stuff, then we're going to call you back because somebody's going to have to pay for what they did over here. Somebody's going to court. I'm like, oh, boy, and that was the lawyer talking. So they hung up. They called me back a day later, apologizing and everything, saying, we're sorry, Mr. Moore. We see that you got it in your invoice. Customer refused the installation of the evaporator coil. We hate that we called you. Sorry for being upset about the situation. Hopefully you don't take it to heart, which I didn't. And we're going to get back with this lady, and she's going to court. We're going to sue her. And I'm like, okay. I was like, y'all have a nice day. And then a couple months after I got off the phone with them, the original homeowner called me. The lady that, you know, I got the deal from, the lady that used to own the house or whatnot. It was her house and she the one who was selling it. She calls me upset and mad because she was like, why would you tell them that I did this? I'm like, because you did. She was like, I didn't do nothing at all. I'm like, no, you did. I told you you had to replace that evaporator coil because it was leaking and it was rusted out, and you clearly didn't want to do it. You thought you would be able to get away with it. I'm not about to take the rap for it. And then she started babbling off at the mouth, and I just ended up hanging up. And then I get a couple of calls again, like a couple months after that, saying she got sued and everything and all that, you know, bad stuff or whatnot. But, you know, it's not my fault, you know. I warned her about the evaporator coil. I said, he's going to find out this thing ain't been replaced, you know, because it's still leaking. It's going to leak on your new furnace because it's rusted out. The condensation pan is rusted out. So water was leaking through the rust, through the pan, down to the furnace and leaking out the side. It was doing that with the old one. It started doing that with the new one. The new owner went off. He found out what happened and she got sued. That's one of the bad stories. Crazy, right? Yeah, that is kind of crazy, man. Boy, you be having them good ones. That was a good one, man. I can't believe you be going through all this stuff, man. Trippy. You got to tell me some more stories, man. That was only, what, part 2, and you got more? Oh, man, I can't wait. I can't wait. Y'all, thanks for watching the podcast. Stay tuned.